Welcome to Southern Hood Blogs. Today we're going to explore Atlanta, the capital of the South, where skyscrapers and gold adorned the skyline of one of the fastest growing cities in the country. The birthplace and also the resting place of civil rights leader Martin Luther King. Today, the city of Atlanta is over 50% African American, and it is considered to be a place of progress for the African American community. 500,000 people call the city limits home, and 10 times more, yes, 5 million people live in the surrounding area of Atlanta. Atlanta has always been a hub for railroad and today for interstate commerce. Between mountains and lakes and natural settings, Atlanta is one of the most beautiful metropolitan areas in the United States. In the world of entertainment and in the world of sports, Atlanta is an international city, rivaled only by Miami for its activity and vibrance of a city. Nothing else in the South is quite like the city of Atlanta for its size, sprawling in all directions for about 100 miles. It's hard to really know where the city of Atlanta and its metropolitan area starts and where it ends, as the city in all directions has swallowed up small towns and communities that are now part of the metropolitan area. A city so massive that it's got several areas where you could consider skylines in downtown districts and many neighborhoods that have their own town centers as well. It is a massive area that takes years to explore. While the city's skyline has always been iconic, it's always introducing new buildings to the already incredible downtown district. Welcome to Atlanta, where the players play, and we ride on them things like every day. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that's Atlanta, man. I'm telling you, if you ain't heard about Atlanta, I don't know where you living underneath a rock or something. You don't know about Atlanta? It's a fun city, guys. It really is. Let's put away some of the formalities of the introduction of this video, and let's just talk real life. Atlanta is one of the most exciting cities you're going to visit, from its skyline to its history to its civil rights movements, to everything the city stands for in the world of music and entertainment. It's a really fun place. It's a place you'll definitely want to visit, an exciting city. If you've ever traveled between the north and the south, its skyline is one of the most impressive things you're ever going to see in your life, even if you're just driving through the city. A lot of us have just driven through Atlanta. It's a city that really deserves to slow down and soak in and spend some time there to really get an understanding of the city, its people. It's an African American community that has prospered so much. You're going to see wealthy people here, people that are doing well, people that are really trying to do something with their lives. It's an amazing city, attracting people from Kentucky, Tennessee, Midwest, Texas, Florida. It's like a sponge that just soaks in people from other cities: Louisville, Kentucky, Elizabethtown, Nashville, Memphis, Houston, all these small towns, Birmingham, Montgomery, the whole South. Everybody ends up in Atlanta. It just sucks up the talent. Everything that the South has to offer gravitates towards Atlanta, because this is a place where African Americans can make it, where talent is found, where people who have dreams go to in the world of business. Anybody that's got a talent, anybody that has education, anybody in the South that wants to do something with their lives, this is where they gravitate towards, because the city has opportunity. The city is diverse with Asian communities. The northeast side of the city is a Latino district featuring Mexican, Cuban, Puerto Rican, Dominican, and every type of cuisine, culture, music. If it exists, if it's culture, if it's food, it is in Atlanta. May it be from the Caribbean, may it be from the South, from anywhere. If it's culture, music, arts, it's in Atlanta. That's where the talent is. That's where you go if you want to make something out of yourself. This city makes other cities in the South be jealous to lose its people, because they know if they go here, they can follow their dreams. A city that was burned, destroyed but recovered. A city that is always fighting for advancement and to be better. A city that deserves respect, admiration. It's a beautiful, amazing place. Undoubtedly, if you were born in the 90s like I was, you know the importance of music. May have been Outkast, Ludacris, I don't know. So much music came out of Atlanta. All of the talent, all of the songs that caught on, all of the artists that caught on. Maybe they be from Birmingham, Alabama, they would find themselves in Atlanta, and that's where everybody went. Many artists from Birmingham, from Macon, from all these other cities, they had to go to Atlanta to make it. And if you are my age, you know the significance of entertainment and how much influence the city of Atlanta has had in making people become famous and become mainstream. This is a place where music was defined, made, and it's affected music throughout the entire world. A time where New York had influence, where LA had influence, Atlanta came in and they stole it and they made it better. Atlanta isn't just Atlanta. Atlanta is Louisville, Kentucky. It's Memphis, Tennessee. It's Macon. It's Columbus. It's Birmingham. It's Montgomery. It's Charlotte. It's every other city in the South. And every one of those cities has given Atlanta so that it can have a chance to go somewhere. It's a place that doesn't just exist within its own rights. It's a place that exports its culture, its music throughout the entire world. Everybody in the entire world, every subculture, every genre of music has benefited from Atlanta directly or indirectly in its influences, in its talents, in its history. Northeast of the city, Lake Lanier is a place where people go to enjoy boating and water. The cities of Gainesville, Cummings, other great prosperous little towns are all along this highway. A city that's known for some horrific traffic as well. It's one of the things it's also known for. Getting on 285 or 75 at the wrong time of day in the wrong direction could be a nightmare. But if you learn how to navigate the city and use some of the secondary roads, you can really make some progress across the city. Most of the African American community is on the south side, and the north side of Atlanta is more white. And along the northeast section of the city, there are Latinos and there's Asian communities mixed throughout the whole place. It's a city that offers so many districts and so many communities, so much culture. It's amazing. In recent years, whites have come to the African American or black Mecca, the center of economic prosperity, culture. The city has it all, and it's starting to attract whites to newer housing and public schools in the suburbs. There's starting to be an influx of white people moving into these neighborhoods, what is known as gentrification, something some of the people that are from Atlanta very much dislike because they're able to lose their culture, their neighborhood identity to a mainstream mix of people. So diversity is a two-edged sword. It's a sword that helps promote your city and makes your city be influenced throughout the whole world. But now with that also comes this gentrification, which is the importation of other cultures into the mix, which can actually thin out the originality, the concentration of the unique character of the city, and many of the local residents just don't want to put up with it. And it's nothing that can be done to prevent this. People gravitate towards the city and people come in, and that has happened in Miami. It's happened all over the South, all over the country, all over the world. Places change. People come into areas that are attractive and prosperous, and when they come, they change the fabric of the place. It's a changing place, ever-changing place. The economy of Atlanta is among the top 10 largest in the country and among the top 20 in the world, with companies like Coca-Cola, Home Depot, AT&T, Chick-fil-A, UPS. It's a lot of important companies based out of Atlanta. And the state of Georgia is also known for cow manufacturing. Maybe I'm thinking about Iowa, car manufacturing. That's not, Our state manufactures cows, shapes, and goats. The auto industry is in Georgia. It's also in nearby Alabama. And by the way, all the other states along the South are somehow interconnected through highways and through the economy. Atlanta affects places far and wide with its interstate system. Being a hub for interstate has also made Atlanta a favorite destination and distribution point for narcotics. And the city of Atlanta is known to have some of the largest drug seizures consistently in the United States. And not only the city of Atlanta, but the metropolitan area, the area around Atlanta, has some of the largest seizures of cash and drugs and weapons heading to Mexico more than anywhere else in the country. It is on a massive scale what is going on here with drug distribution. Within those drug dealers is the famous Demetrius Big Meech, who had a money laundering operation that revolved around a black mafia family music label, which was actually a real drug dealing organization with close to hundreds of members, all of which were making incredible amounts of money. We're talking private jets around the world. The amount of money and cars that these members were having was incredible. Originally, he was from Detroit, and they came down to Atlanta, and they set up incredible drug trafficking networks on a scale that had never been done before, and money laundering. The name of the group has been known throughout the entire world because of how massive this operation was, going directly to Mexico and other parts of Central America, believed to be the sources of the drugs that were being brought in on a scale unheard of. They have territory in Alabama, California, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Wisconsin, Kentucky, Louisiana, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, New York, North Carolina. Basically, many of the parts of the United States were under the influence of this drug trafficking organization headed by Big Meech himself. However, the organization was brought to destruction, and many of the rappers who associated themselves with the name Black Mafia Family for the credibility of it, eventually many people fell off, and it all went to crap with the arrest of many people, confiscation of property, and many artists who aligned themselves with these people eventually distanced themselves when the law came looking for anybody associated with the name. And to this date, it's still a problem for many people, and it's unfortunate that the city had the reputation of having just an open drug market and people who were flashy and showing off their lifestyle. It has to this day affected the reputation of the city, and the fact that the city is a interstate highway hub has really made it the ideal place for these type of organizations. Of course, when one organization gets taken down, another one comes to replace it. 150 members were indicted. According to Wikipedia, 25,000 members. I question whether there were really that many people associated with this organization, which mostly revolved around drug trafficking and then money laundering of the funds that were being made at the time. And everything that we're stating here is directly out of Wikipedia or documentaries that are already on the internet. We're not making none of this up. We're just sourcing it from the internet, common information. If you didn't know this little piece of history about Atlanta, you should definitely know it because it was one of the biggest news articles that has rocked the city. Incredible how this thing actually happened in front of everybody to see. Well, in the year 2005, the DEA came looking to indict members of this organization in the criminal enterprise that was laundering massive amounts of cash money from drug trade into what appeared to be a legit music label. Appearances, flashy displays at nightclubs in Atlanta, incredible vehicles, and other extravagances throughout the city made the group be notarized. And that attention is probably what brought down the organization, although many of the members claim that what they did was on just a massive scale that there was no way to hide it. Eventually, Big Meech in 2005 was brought down with $3 million in cash money seized, 2.5 kilograms of cocaine, numerous weapons, and of course, as more members were arrested, $5.3 million in cash and $5.7 million in assets. They were responsible for moving more than a ton of cocaine a month throughout the entire United States of America. They really pushed an artist called Thru Da Vinci, and you've never heard of him. It's because somehow just didn't work out for this artist. But this was not the end of Atlanta's drug trafficking problems. In the year of 2020, a recent seizure of 28 kilograms of heroin, which is a ridiculous amount of heroin, 6 kilograms of cocaine, 8 kilograms of marijuana, more than $1 million in cash. At another home, agents found 142 kilograms of heroin, 4 kilograms of cocaine. In total, 170 kilograms of heroin, 10 kilos of coke, 8 of marijuana, and over $1 million in cash, along with about 40 weapons, firearms. Atlanta continues to be a trafficking hub, and it has given a city of a real bit of a reputation that has been hard to shake. Even though there's so much progress in the city, there's a lot of illicit activity as well. If you ever want to be amazed, just write Georgia drug bust on Google, and you'll see hundreds of incredible drug busts. The scale of operations in this part of the country is incredible. How much stuff moves through this area. Some of the famous people from Atlanta: T.I., who sang the song Motivation, 24's, Usher, very romantic singer, Ludacris, with his album Word of Mouth, Gucci Mane, Young Jock, Lil Baby, Andre 3000 of Outkast, Lil Scrappy, Jermaine Dupri, Sierra, Jasmine Guy, Jeezy, which is actually from Macon, Georgia, I believe. Silento, if you remember Silento, he had that one song. There's a lot of one-song wonders out of Atlanta as well. Many other people, Big Boy, Soulja Boy, which I don't think he's really from Atlanta. Little Yachty. Soulja Boy's not from Atlanta. What are you talking about, Google? Is he from Atlanta? I'm not sure. But I do know this, that many artists have claimed to be from Atlanta, and eventually, after some arrest report or something, they found out that they're not from Atlanta. They're from somewhere else. And that means that many artists are pretending to be from Atlanta to get some type of notoriety, even though they're not really from there. Lil Yacht, which is a young artist known for incredibly weird music and dressing styles and all types of publicity stunts. 21 Savage, another artist who was supposedly from Atlanta. Turns out he really wasn't from Atlanta. Little John and the East Side Boys. Yeah! That's another Atlanta name, which would probably bring back memories to a lot of people my age. Some memories are probably embarrassed of. TLC. There we go. Going back a little bit further. Monica. Brenda Lee. Young Dro. Let me see your shoulder lean. Bankroll Fresh. Unfortunately, Bankroll Fresh was murdered in an incident in Atlanta. And this was taken as a big hit because he was just at the point of making it. He had just made it. Unfortunately, the fame did not last long, as there was some street drama unfolded at a studio where he was unfortunately lost his life in a gun battle with people that he might have even known. Very sad situation. There's also Southside, Young Scooter, which I thought was from Washington, D.C. Trinidad James is another personality out of Atlanta. Trinidad James, his song Oh Gold Everything, was kind of like a one-hit wonder. He's had other songs, but let's be honest, All Gold Everything is the only song you're ever going to relate to this artist. His career kind of went to crap. K-Camp, there's also Bobby V. And pretty much I wish there was more than R&B and gangster rap. Let me see if I can find a list of other types of genres of music. That's what Google's coming up with for me. It's impossible to talk about Atlanta and not talk about R&B, hip-hop, and some type of rap music. Atlanta has just been had an incredible influence with this type of music throughout the entire world. So it's almost impossible to talk about Atlanta and not mention these musical movements, whether you like them or not. That's where they originate. Even more depressing is that many of these people, once they make it in the music world, they somehow still get caught up in street stuff, which is like, if you have a career in front of you, why would you ruin it doing that and end up murdered or arrested or shot at or something? You have a career. Make something out of yourself. Why throw it away? Unbelievable. Alright, so more famous people out of Atlanta. Alan Ball, who, by the way, I have no idea who he is. Pat Conroy, another person who I have no idea who he is. Jeff Foxworthy, that guy's funny. The kings of comedy, basically, the blue-collar comedy. Jeff Foxworthy, pretty much one of the most hilarious people. You know you're a redneck type of stuff. You know, Tyler Perry, Julia Roberts, Ryan Seacrest. I've heard the name, but not sure what it is. T.I. Rapper T.I. is another artist who, although having fame and quite a successful career, and the guy seems to have a very smart complexion, he definitely doesn't seem like an idiot. Seems like a smart guy. And when you see his arrest reports, you're like, how stupid could you be? His album, Urban Legends, some tracks that were on that album, kind of helped him go into fame. Unfortunately, even though he seems like a very smart guy, if you hear him talk in interviews, very intellectual dude, makes very stupid decisions. Chris Tucker, oh my gosh, talk about a funny guy. This guy is one of the most hilarious people you're ever going to find. Undoubtedly, pure talent. What woman has not been seduced by an Usher song? Usher was born in Dallas, but he spent his childhood in Chattanooga, unfortunately. Chattanooga is north of Atlanta. It's a town surrounded by mountains. It actually has some pretty high elevation caves inside of a mountain, if I remember right. There's a deck where you can oversee the mountains and the cities, and I was terrified of this observation tower. One time I got off at a gas station, and there was projects right there. Very hood. Chattanooga. Well, he definitely became a very successful R&B musician with songs that really, I mean, it's Usher. I mean, yeah, of course. Kanye West, I thought he was from Chicago. The outspoken, crazy, talented person lives in Los Angeles but considers Chicago his hometown, but apparently he has some history in Atlanta. Well, there you go. A few more people from the ATL. And other than that, the Atlanta airport is one of the largest airports in the world. Yes, Atlanta has Georgia's government has also been situated there. I mean, there's so much going on in government. You know, it's a powerful city. It really is. If you don't really understand also the sports, if you're into sports, Atlanta is going to find yourself knowing a lot of good stuff in that realm. No doubt civil rights movements made a huge importance there. In fact, that's where Martin Luther King was born. And a lot of important stuff in the civil rights movement happened in Atlanta. Lots of great opportunities to get into the outdoor world around the Atlanta area. It was once destroyed by a giant fire. However, the city's rebuilt to an incredible scale. Atlanta also has the largest Hindu temple in the world outside of India, located 10 miles outside of Atlanta. The Capitol Dome was originally adorned in 43 ounces of pure gold, which came from the region of Georgia. Now, I'm not sure if it's still there like that, but definitely that area produced gold, and it was used. Also granite. So if you're in the downtown district and you like to look at these historical buildings, local granite is famous, and they've used it lavishly. Undoubtedly, some of these homes in Atlanta are, without a doubt, some of the most incredible homes in the South. It's an incredible city with interesting neighborhoods, and the fact that the city's grown and just swallowed up all these small little towns means that the city has so many different vibes and types of communities within it. Very diverse in every single type of way you could imagine. It's a great city to visit and explore. Another criminal element that has kind of sprang up out of Atlanta. It originally was ran by Cuban organizations. Credit card scamming was a very popular thing in Tampa, Miami, Kentucky, Michigan, really all up and down the East Coast, Texas as well. And these were Cuban organizations that ran these scams. In Atlanta, the African American criminal organizations there picked it up as well and were the first to run with it. And now this type of scam has become mainstream. And Atlanta was really the first place to pick it up outside of the Cuban organizations, which initially did most of that type of crime. I mean, these are elaborate, very elaborate efforts with credit card machines, readers, printing devices, and all types of organizations and structures. Very organized crime, and in Atlanta was one of the first organizations outside of the typical Romanian, Cuban, and Russian organizations. Maybe even Chinese would have been involved in these things. But in Atlanta, it picked up, and then it spread to other areas. But Atlanta was the first, let's say, American area where this took off, being that this was mostly run by Romanians, Cubans, Chinese, Russians. If you watch the news, it's incredible to watch how that developed and became a very popular thing, which eventually spread to Chicago, New York, and other places. So Atlanta has a lot of history with crime, and crimes that have brought incredible amounts of money and wealth to those individuals who took part in these activities. Now I'll tell you guys a story about somebody that I met. He was the victim of credit card fraud, and he eventually ended up losing his job because he was a banker. And if you're a banker, you have to have good credit. You can't have bad credit and be a banker. Basically, him and his wife, they both lost their careers, and they were not able to recover anything. The government wasn't really able to recover the money, wasn't really able to remove their bad credit record, which led to them losing their careers. It basically turns people's lives around. A lot of times people think these are victimless crimes, but that person on the other end, like in this case of this couple that I met, they ended up both losing their jobs, their careers that they worked their entire lives for, because somebody ended up stealing their credit card information and using it. I mean, it's just as scary to have money in the bank as it is to have money cash nowadays, because it's just how they can take your cash, they can also take the money in your bank. And it's very unfortunate that really there's no safe place to keep your money. That's why a lot of people in the South like to have, if you've ever been in the South, you might see somebody and they'll have 100 cars on their driveway, or they'll have giant amounts of work equipment. That's because they don't want to have their money in the bank or cash. They want it on their front yard. It just blows your mind to drive around the southern region of the United States and to see somebody who has 100 cars or 100 semi-trucks or just 100 pieces of work equipment. It's because they want their money somewhere where it can't be taken away. I'm personally not a fan of having large amounts of cash money in the bank. Also not a fan of investing personally and giving it to the stock markets. So I like to be very diversified. If you follow financial people, I follow a little bit of Grant Cardone, and I like one thing that he teaches, which is to turn liquidity into illiquidity. In other words, to turn physical things into things that produce income, even though they're not something you can grasp, just as an investment. And that's kind of what I do with my YouTube, is where I turn hard cash into something that is kind of, you can't grab it, you can't feel it, but it's there producing income, and it's giving you a brand, it's giving you a name. Also, a lot of people here in the South, I'm diversified in all types of ways. That's why I'm really glad now to be in Alabama with an acre of land where I can store as much crap as I want to and nobody can say nothing. It's nice to have that little bit of diversity in a world where everything is electronic and nothing is really physical. And many people who have wealth, only a small percentage of it is actually accessible. The vast majority of it is invested somewhere. So it's just interesting how in the South, you'll see people who have their money in their front yard. And while most of Atlanta's wealth is actually like that, invisible, you get a little bit outside of Atlanta, you'll start to see some wealth that you can touch, feel, and appreciate at somebody's front yard where it can't go nowhere.